depends on personality. You know, something I really admire people who
Yeah.
stand their ground. I don't know your relationship with anything, or rather your difference in opinion with anything. From 2014, I think one time you were quoted as saying the former SG was running the place as if it was his hookah shop.
Yes.
One time you were questioning the selection criteria of coaches.
Yes.
Now there are some rumors that you are not even allowed at NFA. Not that I'm saying that, but there are rumors that you are not.
No,
allowed
it's the truth.
It's the truth.
Yes.
So I don't know what is it that where is the difference in that? Where are you differing? Where are you differing?
Exactly
Who is it that you are differing with?
Exactly my point. I was the Brave Gladiators coach up to May 9. Then I was served with a termination letter of my contract. Then thereafter I engaged the normalization committee that came in April. And I engaged them and said, guys, I have this outstanding monies. And I can show you, I can prove to you that I've engaged the chairman on several occasions, begging at times, because my circumstances financially is so desperate that I even diminished myself and belittled myself to tell him of my circumstances and that I am so desperate need of that money to make my situation at home better. But to no avail. Then the normalization committee paid the Brave Warriors 50% of their outstanding monies of the previous year or the beginning of the year and previous year. And they paid the Gladiators when they went out to COSAFA 30%, but only the Gladiators that went. Note, the previous technical team was not paid, but the previous technical team, Bobby Samaria and his technical team, was paid. And I asked that question that you are now asking. What makes Woody Jacobs different? Is it because he begged you? Is it because he belittled? Is it because I stood up and I said, enough is enough, I want my money? Is it because I went and I opened a labor case, which is my fundamental right to do when unpaid money is due, is not paid? Is it my fundamental right to say that you treated me unfairly and you dismissed me unfairly? Because if you look at the balance, I went through an interviewing process. Just like Colin Benjamin that got a 5-year contract, I went through a process, and on that basis, I got the Brave Gladiators job. So why, if you look at it, why is the Brave Warriors coach appointed through a selection and screening and interview process? He's appointed on a 5-year contract, but the Brave Gladiators coach, because he differs in opinion with people, why was he not appointed on that same basis? I had an interview at Weinberg. I went through that process. I was told that based on that interview, I was the preferred candidate. What happened to that? And now there's a new coach that didn't even apply. A new coach that doesn't even meet the requirements is coaching the team now.
The Gladiators.
The Gladiators. No, the Warriors appointed. They say they went through a process. He applied. He was shortlisted. He was interviewed, and he got the position through a recommendation from the panel. Now, what happened to the Brave Warriors selection process? Brave Gladiators. What happened to that? That someone that doesn't even qualify to that position, because you must have an A license, which the incumbent is not having. Because I'm also an NFA instructor, and I never went. He never went through me, through that process. Why is he appointed? Why is he appointed on that? And is it because of these things that I'm talking, that I'm treated as such? The SG, the interim SG, told someone that I'm not allowed at NFA. And then I went to confront him. And I said to him categorically that my fundamental right, freedom of movement, and if you're a law guy, you're a legal guy. I said to him, he said I instigated the Brave Gladiators to strike.
Yeah.
I was not even, I saw on the status of one of the players that they are striking. And I told him, don't you think it's funny? When I spoke out in the media about my monies, why was the Gladiators not behind me? Where did I get the power to now tell them to go strike on their own? But why? I also told him, don't you think it's funny that a week in the new job, the Gladiators are striking, but they didn't strike for 3 months when Jackie Gertza was acting SG? Don't you think it's funny? I told him that your people in your office is sabotaging you. But you will not tell me to come here without a disciplinary hearing. And if you allege something, you must put it. I'm an NFA instructor. I'm a coach under the auspices of the NFA. You can charge me for bringing the game into disrepute. If you find me guilty in there, you must give me a right to an appeal, and you must give me the right to stand my ground and be duly represented and not treated unfairly and unjust. I told him. We had a very good discussion about that. And I told him it's not going to happen in a free and independent Namibia. Not a country that is free and fair. That you come and treat me prejudiced or treat me in the manner that you do. So that one is cleared. There was also an issue of me being an instructor. I completed a course in FIFA in Zambia in 2019. I went through a mentorship program. They now say that I need to complete coaching courses under the auspices of FIFA to become a duly or accredited FIFA instructor. And I said, bring it on so that I can do it. Because there was 2, but I was omitted. I was not invited. Yet I'm a FIFA instructor. I went through the FIFA coach educators course. You get what I'm saying? So I noted their concern, and I took it. And I took it as such to say that I'm waiting for the report to say that I will now, if there's a FIFA course in Namibia, I'll be the mentee to a FIFA mentee on that particular course. But it's because of, I don't know what is consuming us as Namibians. That when I don't like you, Shaun, and when I don't like your demeanor, I bring it in a professional way of work. Imagine if I was not seeing eye to eye with you, but I would bring it on the show. It would not be fair of me. It would be unprofessional. And we are taught these things. I'm a teacher. I was taught that despite my feelings and my emotions, I must remain professional.
Normalizing committees are in football that is having problems. We had a normalizing committee before. Now we have another one. What differences do you see in the two? And we hear talks that there will be football starting on the 5th. That is about 2 weeks from now. Your take on whether football will start? Are we starting on the right ground? Will there be football, or how confident are you?
Sure. You asked me about the normalization committee. Previous normalization committee, this normalization committee, same difference. Same. Why I say that? They have an agenda. They are pushing somebody's agenda. And I say football has been always the objective. Where do you hail from, Shaun? I'm from Kommersdal. And we can talk to people. What brought us today that we can have a discussion? Football brought us together. Football doesn't discriminate. Football doesn't take sides. Football doesn't take sides and have camps. I told that to Barry Rukoro. I told him, don't tell me about a camp. Don't tell me about football rewards the best. It's the best players that take the field, 11. It's the best coach that coach them. It's the best goalkeeper coach that coach them and support staff. And that's how it is. There's no second best in football. Football rewards the best. It's the best 11 of Black Africa versus the best 11 of Orlando Pirates. The best 11 of Namibia versus the best 11 of South Africa. And it goes around like that. The moment you take sides, the moment you have an agenda and you are not objective, then you will always be compromised. Let us look at the normalization committee. The previous one had a side. They brought in an ineligible candidate in the name of Ranga Aikan. He was never eligible because he never served on a body of the NFA. He was never executive member of a member. He was never. I was a member of an executive. Or I was the executive member of a member, which was Southern Stream. I'm eligible to stand for any position in the NFA hierarchy if I want to. That's number one they did. Secondly, the normalization committee, this one, they were appointed on the 30th of March. Let's count. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We are going to November next week. They are 7 months in charge. 7 months in charge, 8 months in charge. Let's look at the timeline. What have they done? Let's do the math. They fired Cosmos, they fired Woody, and they fired Bobby. They brought Colin on a 5-year contract. They brought Paulo Sipanga. They appointed Jackie Gertze as an acting SG, and then they bought Joachim Trapp. And then they have a promise that football will start in August. We are past that. They say it will start in it's not 2 weeks, it's in 7 days' time. Tomorrow and Friday and the next 5 days, it's in 7 days' time that they need to start the league, if you look at working days. So it's, okay, let's say it's 9 days that they have to start the league. Are the teams prepared? Do the teams know what they are playing for? Is there promotion relegation? Rules sent? Is players registered? I can go on. That will give you an answer that the teams will not be ready. So what are we talking about here? Who are they trying to prove that they are doing something right? The reason why we're in this problem is because things were not done right. You get what I'm saying? The Premier League in 2019, when we stopped, was never supposed to play because the supporting leagues are not playing. These things are in tandem. Life goes with death, and death goes with life. When somebody dies, somebody is born. If the Premier League plays alone, and the first division doesn't play, and the second division doesn't play, how can you promote and how can you relegate? That league, if you look at the rules and regulations governing promotion relegation, you will see that before any ball or any league is kicked off, all the leagues must sign promotion relegation rules. Was it signed? It was not even signed by those 16 teams that played. You get what I'm saying? So, in all honesty, there's a lot to be rectified. And I ask myself the question, why be in a rush? If you look at the money allocation, it's about 46,000 for Windhoek teams. Now tell me, I saw in July headlines that the image of football was so damaged that sponsors don't want to sponsor football. That was the word of the chairman of BC Uira. Then a month later, or now, we hear that there's a sponsor for football. Now, if you struggled in 6 months to get a sponsor for football, you, astute businessman, captain of industries, BC Uira, and the likes, and his executive committee, if they struggled for so many months to get a sponsor, how will citizens, how will Orlando Pirates, how will Black Africa, without a financier, how will they find a sponsor to complement that small money that you are giving? If we are saying we are doing it for the players, if you give 46,000, and how much will each player get? Is it a $500? Are we helping them with that kind of money just because we want football to be played? I beg to differ. So we don't have our ducks in a row. We have people that are champions and captains in their industries, but they're not. Football is a different industry, and it has been proven by the previous normalization and this one. And I don't know who's making the recommendation to FIFA to have people that have, let me not say no, but a limited clue about the running of football. But I can tell you, I can safely say, give me football, and football will start in the right manner because I have no side. I've coached all the teams because I have no loyalty to no club. I have a better, I want to agree. You know, my Ricardo Manetti, great respect for the man. What he's achieved as a coach, as a man, as a human being, as a friend and a person that I grew up with. He told me, Woody, we made the wrong choice. We wanted to become coaches. We were supposed to go into the running of the game. Because if the running of the game is by football, let's look at Cameroon. Cameroon is run by Eto'o. What is he doing? Does people like it? They don't like it. But he's doing the right things in the interest of the people, in the interest of the football players. He's saying that you must pay your players. If you don't play your players, you won't be in a league. He put structures in place to protect the most important commodity, which is the players. Black Africa has no team if there's no players. Orlando Pirates is no team if there's no players. But is players considered in this melee? Is players considered in this impasse that there's no football? Is coaches considered? You are talking to the same people that made football to stop. We are talking to the same people. We come to no conclusion. How can you talk if you do the same thing? You will have the same result.
Coach, you speak. So I like how you speak about players being the most important. What goes through a player's mind when you are so unsure of football heavy as to whether football will start or not? And you speaking so much about leadership, I just want to know, if ever given the chance, would you stand for leadership position?
I'm standing in the next election.
you're going to stand as?
I'm going to stand for president. If I'm not getting vice president, I want to stand for vice president. If I don't get that, I want to stand for second vice president. If I don't get that, for executive member. Why? Because I believe I have the capability, I have the insight, I have the experience to lead this country. I want to stand back from coaching because I believe younger coaches must come through also explore and experience the life I had. But I want to lead them. I want them to be led by someone who knows, and someone who reads, and someone who evolves, and try to make the thing better. Because I believe we have immense talent. If you look at this country, in all honesty, in the last 7 years, we haven't played football for 5 years. So only 2 years. So a player that was 27 is now 34 when football stopped for the first time. And the damage we did to those players. And who's doing this damage? Is it people that live from football? I live from football. I get something from football. These people don't live from football, but they are the ones deciding for us. How can it's like apartheid. A small minority was deciding for a large majority. How blind can we be? How blind can we be that we are led by people just because they throw their money around and they dictate to us with their money? I rather stand tall than live on my knees.
Coach, there are two questions I want to ask you, and that one is relative to what you talk about. People saying they can dictate you because of it's club ownership. One is club ownership, one is football identity.
Yes.
With club ownership, I mean, you see, there are teams, for example, these traditional teams you mentioned. Are we doing justice to these clubs when we allow people just because they have teams and the necessary resources to take over these teams? Do they have the interest of, like for example now, we are hearing that some clubs are training, some clubs are not training. Some players depend on football. Some people,
yes.
If you grew up with football, you will understand how much you put yourself into football when you hear football is starting.
Yeah.
When you have these kinds of people in football, how does that affect taking? Let's take Bloemfontein Celtic in South Africa. Bloemfontein Celtic was having a great club culture. The stages were sold. It died. You see how football was killed in that area. I'm talking about that kind of thing.
Well, to be honest with you, we need people with money in football. Let's not make a mistake. Because we need, if you can also look worldwide, it's now a tendency that people start buying football franchises as a business. Just like Edgar's is a business or Sheet Street is a business, the same is a football. Football is a business, or sport for that matter. If you look at American basketball, American football, these are big brands because millions of people have bought into this idea, and it's a market for merchandise and TV rights and all these things. So we need people with money in football. What we need also is that not every Tom, Dick, and Harry can have a team. You stand up and you have a team. It should be institutionalized in the sense that it cannot go for broke, because right now we sit in this predicament. We have a sponsor that can only give 46K per month to a team. So whatever is the shortfall needs to be raised. And we don't have that capacity right now. You get what I'm saying? So I would say I agree with the club licensing system. I agree with a certain criteria being set around how a club should look like, how it should be run, and all these things, and also the resources that it must have and the backup. But I also think it's a systematic approach that we need to follow. Let's say this year we're going to give 46 and you're going to raise the other 46 to make it 92. You get what I'm saying? That the teams and the sponsor meet each other halfway. In the past, I also believe that these teams were just relying on the grants that they get from the sponsors, which was wrong. Because I think any club has marketability. Even the school, even Cosmos, where I'm teaching, has marketability. It can market a brand. It can market Coca-Cola, for instance, to say that Coca-Cola on the chest, or you call it Coca-Cola Cosmos. We sell the naming rights of the club, of the naming rights of the school, or the soccer team of the school. We sell it to Coca-Cola. In return, Coca-Cola make sure that we travel, make sure that we're well dressed, make sure that we are well fed, and the coaches are paid, and all these things. That's a return on investment. So every team is marketable. You cannot tell me that the team playing in the top tier of the league of the country is not able to attract one sponsor or one partner. That I agree with. But to rush football, to start it off, I don't believe. I also think that we must change our calendar from February to November. Why I say that? The extreme heat that we play in. If you look at Sam Nujoma, you play on that artificial turf. The wellness of the players are compromised severely. Now we rush, and there's a World Cup coming up.
Why we must have it like the way we had it before?
The way I grew up.
Yeah.
Angola plays like that, and you are all year round. You are busy. It's only December. You know that Namibia shuts down. Namibia, South Africa, the surrounding areas, we shut down. It's only in England. Even Germany shuts down. Spain shuts down because Christmas time is time for family and all these things. And I also believe that why must we rush now and play in this extreme heat? We are a country close to the equator that has extreme temperatures, especially going into the months of October, November, December, January. So I believe that football is also a winter sport. It must be played in winter. It's much better. People go to the stadiums during the day. You don't need floodlights and all these things, and people can go and can enjoy a game of football and with family and all these things.
Coach, in terms of identity, you spoke about young ones in covered football.
Yes.
There was an African coach from Ghana who was asked by the FA president to play tiki-taka. He said to play tiki-taka, you must get all the grounds around the country, you must flatten them.
Yeah.
They couldn't.
Yeah.
So they said, then I cannot put the ball on the ground. I want to know, Namibia has been playing, you mentioned big names, guys from Southwest Africa, where every time you have this, when you see these conversations about Namibian football, they talk, some people talk about identity, some of them ask, which identity? How difficult is it to have a Namibian football identity? What affects? Is it cultural differences? Is it the diversity? How do you foster an identity of football? Even if it's Cope and Donner, if we are known for something, what are we known for, or what can we be known for? It's a Namibian footballing nation.
We are a very diverse country, and each tribe in this country has attributes. And I say we must find the attributes. I will, for instance, say, from my early coaching career until now, and what I've experienced through national teams, club teams, junior teams, school teams, Namibia has one unique, standout feature, and that is speed. We have speed, abundance of speed. And I can name you the players that can do a 10 plus 100 at any time. And I think we should foster, or we should mold a philosophy based on that. I also tend to agree with the Ghana coach. When I used to grow up, Friday nights we used to watch the big league, and the big league is currently the EPL or the Barclays League at that time, and those pitches were muddy because it rains a lot in the United Friday highlight package that we used to watch. Then we would stream and go home and watch that because Liverpool is playing, your team, Arsenal is playing, Wimbledon is playing, and all these teams, and you would see that it was muddy. What changed in England? They made those pitches user-friendly in such a way that they can play the carpet. Even their training pitches is of such a high quality that they can play that carpet football. Young ones, I think young ones are fortunate why they play that kind of football. Young ones trained at David Bested. And David Bested at that time already had floodlights. Way back in '86, they already had floodlights. And David Bested's field was a carpet, and they could play that football. Because most of young ones' games was also played at the showground and SKW. Now, if you look at the quality of that pitches at that time, it was of high standard. And I think that's why young ones could play that kind of football. So I think the pitch or the infrastructure has a role to play. But to come back to our philosophy, we must find what are our key attributes of the different tribes that we have, that we must find that blueprint. We must find that philosophy that suits Namibian football. But the NFA, in its philosophy or its vision, they want to play a ball-orientated, possession-based kind of style of football. So I think it also fits in with our attributes because we are smaller, we are petite, we are not as big as the West Africans that are much slower and stronger on the ball. We can find that quick movement. And I did that in Ghana because I told the boys we are quick, but we are smaller. They are big and they are bigger. So they like pushing the ball away, and we started pressing them. And through that, we could get something from their mistakes and get it into goals and win matches in Ghana. So yes, the material is there. It's finding it, and then finding. I think Ubayan with Coach Rustin Mokhane did that to a fair extent. They found that philosophy, and we played to that philosophy. And mind you, back in the day when the class of '98 started playing, they played with a 3-5-2 formation, and they went on the overlap, and they went through the motions and trying to play a possession style based football based on the influence of Ubayan. And most of the clubs adopted that style, and they played similar styles. So I think when we find that, it must also filter down to the clubs, not just from the Premier League, but the first division, the second division, and the junior teams alike.
Before we conclude, Coach, I just want to know you to tell us if there are any clubs that you are currently training with, or if the league starts, is the team that you are working with, and the World Cup is starting next month. Which team are you supporting? And also, since football is an international language, your team Arsenal is having a purple patch, which I want to call it. They are leading. How confident are you in them winning? It's a very young team in winning the league.
Arsenal, they surprised me, but I believe that the style of play that the coach is trying to put is really working for them. I think the signings that he made was crucial in this purple patch that you mentioned. Some of the boys really come up. I mean, young players like Saliba, for me, is a very standout player. Shevchenko from Man City that he signed, the Ukrainian, also a phenomenal player. Gabriel Jesus, also one of the guys. But the guy that's really making a renaissance in his game is Granit Xhaka for me. And I think he played like he played in the Euros for Switzerland. And he's the guy that keeps the team on ticking. My biggest worry, whether they can maintain this, and I've looked at the features leading up to the World Cup, which I think can give them that impetus. It's quite relatively easy games, but you saw already against Southampton, we were expected to win, but we dropped points, and that is one of the key things. I think the depth in the squad is also a key factor for me, because there'll be loss of form, there'll be injuries, and that will also in a way stop us the momentum going forward. So in all honesty, I'll take it one game at a time and see how the team develops. But I think the team can end top four at least if they don't go toe to toe with City. But I still think City is the overall favorite to win the title, judging from the displays and the way they put teams to the sword and all this. In the World Cup, I'll go to the World Cup before I come to our local leagues. World Cup, it's a new one. It's a World Cup being played in December, November, December for the first time in its existence, and it's played in Qatar, not a footballing nation, a renowned footballing nation, but yet again the world-class stadiums that they've built will create that ambience and that atmosphere that the World Cup deserves, which is the biggest showpiece on earth. And I wish that one day Namibia, and I wish I will be part of that, Namibia also play at the biggest showpiece before I leave this life. Then of course, I grew up supporting England, but I can't. They keep on disappointing. I'm a Messi fan. I'm a phenomenal Messi fan. I like the way he plays the football. I watched him last night against Maccabi Haifa, and they were scintillating. And I'll be supporting Messi. I want him to win a World Cup at least once in his career to establish that GOAT, the GOAT that I believe he is, although he never won a World Cup, although he came close. Our local leagues, I was in the transitional league. I was with Pirates, and I believe I'm still there. Pirates, we haven't started yet or anything, but like I said, Asprilla, I'm very much confident of going up the ladder. I would like to be a person that also mold young coaches. I would love to be more on a director level and guide. I want to start academies for teams like Pirates and BA and Tigers. They need to have academies. They need to have factory lines with players. You don't struggle with those teams to get players. You don't struggle, and they take it for granted. And we must have those kind of setups for them. You get what I'm saying? So I'll most probably, if they're still interested in my services, you never know. I'll most probably be with Pirates. I would like to to continue what I've started. I think in the past it was touch and go all the time, and I never, unlike Stars where I spent a good 2 years, it was the only team that I really spent a long time, and I could mold something and I could build something. I want to do that with Pirates. I want to stay there. I want to build, even though, but the only thing difference would be would they want me. So yeah, and yeah, it's nice that we all want football to start. No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I want football to start. I know how players and coaches are like. I'm in a fortunate position that I have a backup, which is my day job, that I can fall back on that and I can get something. But also football has allowed me to do a little bit extra for family also. All families go through difficult circumstances, and I could help out when football was there. But now, right now, it's quite difficult. So yes, we rely on football greatly for that. So I want football to start, but I also want football to start in a nice way. My suggestion, or the olive leaf that I want to extend, is that why don't we fix everything that is broken in this 2-month period leading up to the December or Christmas, and then we start football afresh next year when everything has been sorted out, clubs has been sorted out, ownership has been sorted out, squabbles has been sorted out, rules has been sorted out, and maybe just play a tournament here and there, and we combine second division. Let's say the 14 second divisions, they get a winner, and the 14 comes out from there, and the 3 first divisions, maybe 2 come out from there, and then we have 20, and then the 16, and then we have a tournament amongst these guys, and a big against small, and it's played in different towns just to give the people a feel of what they've been missing, and then we end the year like that, and then we go and we start afresh on a clean slate.
It's also very difficult to have football while the World Cup is playing.
Absolutely, and that's another factor that I wonder how these people got past FIFA to maneuver.
Coach Jacob,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure having you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap.